Real Talk with Joe Skousen.
Justin Benson,
Yeah, we finally did this.
what's
That's
up?
exciting.
What's up, dude? We were just saying you're kind of living in the glorious weather of the southern U.S. right
You
now.
know, Phoenix doesn't suck right now. That's for sure. It's the reason why all the snowbirds are here. Our population doubles in size. Everybody from Canada is here now. And yeah, every golf round at a Muni course costs $200 a round even now at this point. So it's
Exactly. That's the proof of it. We've known each other now for a while. For everyone out there, I love Justin. I love that Justin's kind of connected to the space, not just at the high level, but like you're down in there. Sometimes
yeah,
when you're like, what's going on in here? And you pull it up, Justin's there and he's like, let me give you some insights. So I love the insights, especially we've got like this, the market. We've been talking about the market. I mean, we always
yeah.
do in real estate, but gosh, it feels like perpetually the last 3+ years, there's always been a thing, even in addition to the market itself, like the rates and the transaction volume and things. And kind of right now, the market indicators like the transactions and rates are kind of like, yeah, we're in this bottom of the U still, and it's a
Yeah.
slow coming out of the U, but they're kind of heading in the right direction a little bit now.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, obviously, all the core mechanics are still there, interest rates and affordability and prices or whatnot. But I was actually just chatting with a good friend of mine that's very smart in the economic world. And he's like, well, at least in the near term, it looks like, you only have so much price elasticity as a person, but there's forcing events that just kind of will make people move eventually. It's like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. And this might not change for a little bit. So let's just go ahead and do that. And it's looking like 2026 might be lining up to be one of those things, right? So I'm excited to see how that all fleshes out.
Yeah, and we were all a little bit wrong on what were the metrics going to be in 26. Or at least most of the industry kind of believed that we'd see a little higher transaction volume, but generally speaking, we're kind of slowly kind of hitting some of that improvement in the market. Now, the consolidation and the portal games and all that, like that's not slow. That thing seems like it's like
Well,
that's
that
not
happens
slowing
in
down at
down
all.
markets anyways. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
Consolidation in markets ends up happening during, at the bottom of that U at some point, right? So it
Yeah.
makes sense that all of that is happening. But it's interesting when I talk to like my team leader friends and stuff, you feel a little helpless to a degree, right? It's like watching the federal government do things and you're like, I can't do anything about that. Like I just kind of have to like roll with the punches, right? So
Well,
yeah,
that is one of the things that I would say is unique, especially with some of the portals and the big brand moves, is consolidation is a pretty natural thing. There are some very large players that, yeah, to your point, Justin, it's kind of like it can feel in a moment if people let it in the space, it can feel like they don't have control. We're going to talk about this. They do, but it can feel for a minute like, gosh, what can I do to battle X, Y, or Z force? I mean, you saw the Google headline, right? And
yeah,
our good buddy Mike Del Preti was kind of, Mike, good job, sniffed
yeah.
that out, saw that, but and then kind of all the headlines picked it up. But what's the word, Justin? So Google's going to make its little search portal now. Is that what's going to
No,
happen?
absolutely not. I'm the person. I'm in this little founders text thread, and people started kind of freaking out about that. And I was the one that hopped in. I'm like posting, "Hey, this is the size of Google. Here's the size of certain like portal companies. Remember that Google is like hundreds of times larger, kind of thing." No, their core business. Google's going to get involved with. I actually know this personally. We just hired a Google machine learning engineer to do some like some contract work for us, and we had to get approval through legal to get that done. And this isn't verbatim, but the spirit of it was, we don't care about like the real estate sector in that regard, basically. Like it's not a market that we care about. So like go have fun, engineer.
Yeah.
And the reality is like Google's core business on Google is always been ad revenue, right? So it totally makes sense that they would do something like this because before the way the ad revenue would show up is in those paid ad spots. But now we're all transitioning to this more a different kind of UI with agentic based search, right? And Google's pushing that. So that old way of showing who is, whose paid ad spots show up at the top doesn't work anymore with that form factor. So now they need a new like a flippy thing where it goes through houses and stuff like that. That's what they're doing. This is an ad revenue thing, but a google.com/homes where there's a search portal on Google to get connected to an agent, and that no, absolutely not. That doesn't make sense. That's only a business that's scalable in the United States and basically North America. So
Well, the other dynamic, I tend to agree with the point of they're not getting in the portal game as such.
yeah,
I mean, what I will say is back to this point of like where is their business and what does make sense here is I don't think you have to worry or we have to worry that you're not going to be able to spend money on Google to get those spots. Don't
yeah,
worry, you will be able to spend money with Google to do it. Where
yeah.
like you
Sorry
never
to
have to
clarify
worry.
that
Yeah.
that is not a. They're not looking to get more ad money out of real estate teams and brokerages. They're looking to get more ad money out of very large companies like said portals, is my
Well,
opinion. So
I would argue, I think out of everybody, they're squeezing it
yeah,
out of everybody. That's their game. But what I will say is that chunk, there is a chunk of ad revenue. If you think about the portal game broadly, really most of the portal game is the same kind of game. It was just around a specific kind of asset. And that's really what portals are in any space is kind of aggregating an asset in order to kind of funnel that traffic. And so I do think what you'll see with Google, they won't play the portal game as such. I don't think it's a huge threat to the individual agents and teams. I don't think it's a huge threat actually to the MLSs, depending on how they
no,
play. I do think the portals are actually the ones that have more to I guess be at threat there or at risk because they will have to pay more to play in that game likely,
yeah,
and or others will be able to go direct to the source more easily.
yeah.
And so anyway, it'll be interesting to see, and it's the big news of today. But look, you also see other things going on. You see Holmes and CoStar. Word on the street is they're sniffing around the tech world for additional acquisitions and doing more things. Maybe feeling some pressure from Z. Other portals are still trying to play. Like there's still a lot going on in the portal world, right?
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. Consolidation will continue to happen.
Yeah.
You know, lawsuits that are happening around also tend to happen during times like this.
Yeah.
There's a business reason for those things happening, and it's just interesting to see it all continue to play out. But one thing that I've always held dear is that usually the company that is competing with a superior product is the one that gets attacked the most, like Apple getting attacked by Samsung and things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
It's kind of the only way don't forget that like, even though you see a news headline that like Apple's getting sued by Samsung today, don't forget that the screen in your smartphone literally is bought by Apple from Samsung. It's
Yeah.
the reality of that.
Yeah.
So it's not the same way that people think as far as the way how litigious those things get. So
Absolutely. Well, and you also have some big moves with the brokerages out there. You got
yeah,
consolidation there as well. And look, today we won't unpack all of that, but you do have these big plays with brands, and it's helpful again as everyone's seeing headlines, watch things to kind of level set in kind of what are those dynamics in the space and how important are they to pay attention to, because sometimes there's like this attraction of in real estate there's folks who are the strongest producers really driving transactions, really spending all their time with clients, etc. And there's also this attraction of equity and downlines and models, and
yeah,
like these are real dynamics, and then there are brands out there where you got to ask the question, are they playing for the agent and the team, or are they kind of playing around with the agent and the team,
yeah.
even big plays going on. And so there is a lot happening on the brands and brand headlines out there still, Justin.
It's funny about that is like I get accused of being a oversimplifier many times. I just kind of like do my best to think in first principles. It's like, okay, at the end of all of this, I was having a chat with my best friend about it. Back when I was more naive and not as aware of the macro and microeconomic factors that control some of this stuff, I still ran successful businesses being naive to all of that because I just did the like, okay, I'll do a really great job for people, do what I say I'm going to do and leave them better than I found them. And guess what? The company grew even during like down cycles is the real reality. So I feel like this, we get emotionally charged by some of this stuff, but like, I don't know, first principles of real estate. And for everyone listening, I'm not just like the tech guy. I built a team that spanned 3 states and sold thousands and thousands of houses. So I know what it's like to be a real estate agent. And like, I don't know, like during the 2008 stuff, like we sorted a way through it. And at the core of it, it's people need shelter. They would like to buy a home. They'd like to build equity and net worth in said home. And they'll need somebody that's really good at their job to guide them through that transaction, right?
100%. Yeah.
And it's relational, it's conversational. It's not a lot of sexy stuff. It's the doing the, let's buy the coffee truck to be at the school drop-off line. Let's do those things and be present in the community. And that creates like a absolutely indestructible moat for a company, but it's not quite easy, so.
Well, I love that, Justin, because I think in the end of the day, what you're talking about is the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
It's the fundamentals for the industry are still healthy in there. Mm-hmm. And the fundamentals for an individual team, agent, brokerage, even, it's kind of like the fundamentals are actually still the highest ROI things to focus on, right? Like you can get distracted with all the headlines. The fundamentals are still super sexy. And honestly, you and I, we deal with a lot of technology. We deal with AI. We're dealing with all these things. But AI and tech, you can get really distracted with that stuff too. And what's most important, AI and tech are really best when they serve to really ramp the hell out of the non-sexy but super potent fundamentals, right? Isn't that the game in the end of the day?
Yeah, it's we can spool that up to like the GDP is basically predicated on productivity, essentially. Yep. So like when you think about AI in a service-based sector, my opinion on it is that it creates a scale of company that did not exist previous to AI, right? Because we can augment so many portions of the way that we do things. No, should you be replaced in that? No, absolutely not. It should not replace, nor do I hold an opinion that it will replace the last mile service person, right? And that is the real estate agent. When you talk about the fundamentals being healthy, the amount of people that sell and transact with a real estate agent versus without a real estate agent actually favored this year further into the trajectory of the real estate agent, right? So it's like people still want a real estate agent to help them purchase and sell their home is the reality. So now it's like, okay, well, how do we continue to augment ourselves so we can do more business or have a better quality balance of life or whatever your goal or agenda is on that? AI creates the ability to augment yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
one of the things that did prove out true in 2025, and we saw a lot of this actually. We started out the year, you said this, I said this, we started 25 out and said, look, this is going to not be the most kind of like calm year. There's a lot going on in 2025. And yet, and for some that'll be challenging, and for others it'll be a fantastic opportunity. That totally proved to be true. Justin, you've got to some of what you do every day and what Shiloh does, you've got kind of a really cool and unique perspective on the space based on like what you guys do every day and all the stuff you see. Tell us a little bit about that. Like what unique perspective do you get that frankly not everyone else gets?
It's, again, simpleton Justin over here oversimplifying things. If we are in a relational industry, what builds relationship? Okay, you can say trust, you can say whatever, enter the thing in. Okay, but like what is the
conversations?
Medium? Like how does that happen? It is a conversation that happens with another human being.
Yeah, totally.
That's the medium to build trust, to build rapport, to do all of the things, right? So it is the core baseline in a service-based business. So at Shiloh, obviously we have this awesome AI that is it's coaching all of those conversations to improve. For the longest time in the real estate industry, we've looked at metrics like how many calls did you make to how many appointments did you
Yep.
set? Okay, cool. 100 calls made to 2 appointments set, 2% conversion rate. So the thought was, cool, let's just increase the amount of that top activity to output something else, right? And the reason why we did that is because when that conversion rate is low in between, it's a performance thing, right?
Yep.
It's how well did said person perform at that activity is what dictates that conversion rate. So what's really fun for us to see is that using something like Shiloh, we have, without a shadow of a doubt, seen all of our teams increase that conversion rate, which is awesome. Because if you think the simple math, the conversion rate is 4% now. And now you're setting 4 appointments for the same amount of activity, but then you decide to double that. Now you're at 8 instead of 4. There's an exponential scale to that thing, right?
What I love that you're talking about, Justin, and this is what's been so cool as I've watched you and watched Shiloh, is it's the same amount of input.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same freaking amount of input. And you can get like double the output out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
We get hyper fixated on quantity opposed to quality. And don't get me wrong, both of those numbers matter.
Both. Yeah.
You need both. There needs to be a certain amount of quantity for any output to show up on the backside. But focus on quality is a bit of the like work smarter, not harder philosophy to a degree. Totally. And at the end of the day, I'm telling people, like, Shiloh at its core is teaching people how to communicate. If you learn how to communicate, you learn yourself, you learn your tendencies, which we're showing to people on the back end of Shiloh, kind of like their core traits and what their tendencies are. That makes you a better, not just salesperson, it makes you a better husband, better, father.
Everything. I mean, communication is at the core of every relationship.
Of life is communication, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been wild, man. 15 years of continuous talk time we have analyzed in the past year and 2 months. So it is a tremendous amount of data that we've been able to see, and there's some pretty cool trends that exist in all of that data.
That's so awesome. Well, and back to this point of like the fundamentals, that's like the perfect example of this is one part of your funnel where, again, you can kind of take the same amount of input, really focus on the fundamentals. And that's really what Shiloh's doing, is helping you laser focus on the fundamentals. And you can plug this in, do it for a team, you can do it for a brokerage, where you're like, all of us, let's get our conversations and let's focus on the fundamentals, and boom, my output goes up. I don't need any additional input. And there's a lot of things we talk about. I've had a lot of conversations where we say things like, you can double or triple your productivity, your production next year. Like you genuinely can double or triple. And I think there's a lot of folks who are like, gosh, that sounds so big, that sounds so BHAGgy. But that's actually the point of the non-sexy fundamentals, is that's the area you have the ability to do that, is to kind of double or triple. What kind of results do you guys see as people get in and adopt this? Like, do you see that kind of result?
Yeah, we handhold people. Each organization's soft spots are a little bit different on the conversational aspect of things. Yeah. But like at a base level, I don't know, Whistle increases appointment set rate by 146% over a 4-month span of using Shiloh. And don't get me wrong, they also crashed our role play server 3 times because they had more people role play at once on one singular call than I thought was going to happen, actually.
Yeah.
So like, they're using the tool, they're skilling up, they're doing all the things that are necessary to do it. Like even these cool AI tools, the hammers and hammer until someone picks it up and swings it, right? So that's just the true reality behind it. But if it does happen, it brings awareness. And when we talked about augmenting the human, I talked to team leaders about this. Like, it's the reason why this becomes clarity into the conversations that are happening in an organization gets worse at scale. When you're a smaller organization, 100%. You all sit in an office, you can hear
if there's
everybody.
2 of you and you're sitting there and you're like, hey, you should have said this on the call. Hey, here, I'll tell you what I've been saying. And all of a sudden you're 10, 15, 20, 100, 1,000. It's like, you can't do that, right?
You can't do it. And you also can't hire enough people to listen through all of those calls. It does not, it is an unsolvable problem at scale. And the core of that is because said team leader or sales manager or sales director, they cannot clone themselves. So they have to figure out how to augment themselves.
And so what happens? What do we hear from teams? We hear leads suck. My close rate sucks. You hear from brokers and things. My agents suck at times. They've never said, yes, they have. Once in a while they say that. But
Yeah.
you hear those kinds of things. Something sucks, something sucks, something sucks. But really, what kind of sucks? Their ability to scale that fundamentals, the focus on the fundamentals. And that's really the problem that you're solving. And frankly, Justin, that's why I get so excited about our partnership and relationship that we've got, because a
Yeah.
lot of our focus at Inside Real Estate is taking the same amount of input you have, whether it's leads, contacts, database, et cetera, and creating those conversation moments, right?
Right.
And so we're really focused on creating those conversations. And I love, Justin, that you guys are taking those conversations and helping the teams and agents create a much greater outcome out of that same input. So it
Yeah.
really has been fun working together on this stuff.
Yeah. There's not really anything else to add to that. That is the crux. Shiloh is a performance indicator where we have activity indicators on how many calls, how many emails, how many texts. When we don't know how the performance of said activities go, Shiloh weighs in and tells you how the performance of those activities go. Tells you not just like what went wrong, but actually like how to make it better, and then prescribes really awesome role plays to you in real time to tell you like, hey, here's how you could practice to skill this up, basically. So it's like bespoke to each individual person, right?
Yeah.
It's not this generic role play engine that you role play with this one scenario. It really is bespoke to like your core things that you need to develop as a
Yeah.
salesperson.
So you've done some awesome stuff. I think you guys are seeing fantastic results. We're seeing a lot of really cool results as well. And as we look forward, as we talk about kind of where we're going, you've talked about something I wanted to kind of highlight. I think I've heard you kind of use this phrasing of, as a founder, as a tech person, building with care. This concept of like building with care and how you approach technology. There's a lot of hype around AI and all of these things. How does that translate for you? What does that kind of mean to you?
I despise showing up in CEO circles and they're like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I run an AI company, and you can see their eyes gloss over. They're like, oh God, another one of those people. Because so many people created AI solutions that were not helpful and they were lackluster and they left people disappointed, not wowed. And, I care nothing about doing that. Like our core values, the first two at Shiloh, are do what you say you're going to do and then leave people better than you found them. So like our product discipline revolves around that. Is like, how do we just do that for people? Let's roll out features that actually meaningfully move the needle. Let's not overpromise things, and let's give people tools that actually do help, and not flash, not hype, not any of that stuff. We are going to build tools that actually add back to people's lives, right? So that's from a core philosophy of me as a human, us as a company, and the way that we go about kind of building and assembling products. So
yeah, I love it. I think it's a fantastic. It captures the kind of essence of that in a fantastic way. And what AI shouldn't I don't think it'll ever do is it never gets away from that. So that the tech should help you with the fundamentals. It doesn't mean you don't have to execute fundamentals. And that's I think that's one of the misconceptions at times in the space. People do get a little excited about the AI flashiness. They glaze over with the AI terms sometimes. They also, and I would say a lot of agents and teams at times, even when they're trying to be careful about it, they sometimes will fall into this idea that AI is going to be magical such that I don't have to execute anymore. The beauty of it is, if that were the case, it would replace you entirely. It's not going to do that. The beauty is you still have to execute. You still have to be great and make a decision to execute. And so building with care and building great solutions doesn't get rid of that need to execute, does it?
Yeah. No, not at all. My analogy for our clients at Shiloh are, okay, it'll listen to your calls, give really incredible feedback. That feedback is based on best practices out of more calls than one person will ever make in 75 billion lifetimes, basically. It is giving you expert feedback. But what that is like, I come from the sports world. What that is sitting in the film room, watching the replay of the previous game. And then what do? We see in plain sight, we thought we did a good job, and nope, actually, I looked like an idiot on the field just there, and I need to fix that. What do we do next? We know what our weaknesses are, and we go to a practice field and we practice to those weaknesses. That's what the role play engine is. But guess what is still on the real estate agent at the end of the day? You got to go show up to Sunday and you got to go play the game.
That's right.
So, and then the feedback loop continues. Then you sit down, watch the game film, and that is the feedback loop of ever improvement, right? But Shiloh cannot go into the field and play the game for you. You have to be the one that plays the game.
I love it. I was spending some time with my friend Brian Buffini. Many know him. Brian, shout out to you. I was spending some time with him the other day and in one of his events, and I think the thing that hit me, Justin, you and I had been talking a bit, and the thing that hit me is how those worlds of human coaching and AI coaching they don't like displace each other. They live so well together. And so you actually take the benefit of both of those, but it is an execution game still. And thank heavens it is, because what it means is the best of the best agents, the best teams can take some of this tech and really go see those kinds of effects. They really can see a 2x and a 3x multiplier, because it's about how well they take something like Shiloh coaching, their other coaching, their tech, and they go execute tomorrow, right?
Yep. Execution is the name of the game. That is the name, but ideas do not get paid. Execution is what gets paid. So the best people on the planet are very good executors. Even if they get it wrong and fail, they go back and they try again. They retool, they learn, and then they try again, and they just keep executing over and over and over again until it works. So
I love it. Well, what else would you leave with everybody for 26? We're December. We're heading quickly toward 2026. What else? What other kind of nuggets of wisdom would you leave, Justin?
All right, so I'm on a bit of a crusade about this. 15 years of continuous talk time. Interesting data behind that. 83% of those calls ended without a clear next step. For the love of God, please try to set clear next steps. When you backwards compute that to the call volume to GCI numbers, you end up at $800 million of GCI missing. Yeah. It is a not even non-trivial amount. It is a crazy, this is it is not a leak in the bucket. This is a flood that's happening, right? And what we have realized is that there are three kind of core ingredients that have yielded the highest conversion rates across all the different lead sources that we get to see roll through.
I love it.
And the first one is setting a clear, defined next step. And defined means not next week, not sometime in the future, but how does this weekend look like to go see your top 2 or 3 homes? Is that possible on every call? Of course not, but it should be our goal. So that's step number one. Okay. The second one is asking 2 discovery questions that get 1 objection to show up. And when I say objection, I spoke at Zillow's Unlock conference, and I said, what's your emotional reaction to objection? Everybody's angry, pissed off, whatever. That is such a small percentage of the calls that you have. That does, but what an objection is I go, hey, Joe, you looking to move in the next 3 to 6 months? And Joe goes, yeah, interest rates are a little high. I don't know how to, that's an objection right there. It's our job to solve that. So I go, hey, Joe, I actually just sold somebody a new build where the buyer bought down the rate. It was a 4.5% rate. It's actually possible if you're open to that area. And they go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. One, you are the subject matter expert now. That's what objections do for us as real estate agents. And you do that by asking discovery questions, right? Yep. So 2 discovery questions that get 1 objection to show up. And then final third ingredient is stay on the phone for 3 minutes.
Love it.
3 minutes or more. If you can complete those 3 things, you 6x your conversion rate. And again, I want people to hear this. Is it possible to do that on every call? Absolutely not. That is overly idealistic, but it should be our goal and our thought going into every single call. And if you just do that with or without Shiloh, you'll see those conversion rates increase, right? So just do those 3 things. What Shiloh does is it allows you the ability to,
the very clear call to action. We're just going to hit those one more time. Very clear call to action on every call. 2 probing questions, uncover the objections, the concerns, and stay on the phone for 3 minutes. Don't let them off. Keep on the phone, build the conversation, build the momentum. Those are the 3 things. You do those, you 6x your conversion rate from conversations.
Correct.
Love it. Love it.
1000%.
I'll tell you what's beautiful is that you have, I love what Justin has to say. I love what he's doing. I love their solution. I love the fact that we're able to bring these kinds of solutions together and we can drive more conversations to it and frankly, take a lot of those action items out of it, roll it right into the mobile apps. There's sweet new mobile app and experiences that Justin and I are excited to bring to you guys. So happy holidays to all of you out there. Very excited about what 26 is going to bring. Justin, appreciate you, man. Love this stuff.
Dude, you as well. Thanks for having me. An honor to get the invite in the first place, man, with the infamous Joe Skousen over here. This
oh
is
my
big
gosh,
day to get this
you
call. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I'm honored. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it, dude.